Tonight on News 5 Live, two Belize City men arraigned for the murder of David Phillips. The BDF maintains that the device found aboard a Maya aircraft was an IED, while the Director of Civil Aviation says otherwise. The Christian Workers Union is back in the news. It alleges that the Port of Belize will no longer provide insurance coverage for stevedores. And another significant fisheries bust. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Number one caller. Number one caller. Hey, number one caller. You know why? Listen, hey, for the best post and prepaid. You know that smart got you back. For the best service coverage. All we know that smart got you back. Travel and connect everywhere. You know that smart got you back. Smart make that go a long, long way. All we know that smart got you back. Do ya, Ben? Let's go. Do ya, Ben? This is our smart offer. Prepaid, bundle, postpaid, roaming. Please don't forget the broadband and the prepaid. Best deals the bundles. No care what they say. Broadband for the family. You dollar when I long way. The roaming connect everywhere. The promo cause we are family. Style up easy as 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Ooh. Every caller is the number one caller with smart, bringing people together.
Everything is better electric. Be more efficient with electric vehicles and transforming your home with Energy Star electric appliances and power tools. This helps to create a greener and cleaner world for the next generation. Energize your world with BEL.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Monday, October 2nd. I am Sabrina Daly. We begin tonight's newscast with the arrest of two men for probably the most callous murder for 2023. Last Thursday, we brought you the gripping images of the murder of 43-year-old David "Goofy" Phillips, whose body was discovered in the Western Pines residential area at Mile 8 on the George Price Highway. Phillips' head was bashed in with a cement block taken from the scene, where a concrete house was under construction. And today, two men were marched before the magistrate's court to jointly face the charge of murder in connection with the incident. This was after police charged 37-year-old Jardine Eaton Jorgensen of Guerrero Street and a stevedore, 45-year-old Lloyd Anthony Burgess of Cesar Ridge Road, with the crime over the weekend. The police believe they have a case against the two men after a mason stumbled upon Phillips' body behind a concrete house that was under construction. He was found lying face down and dressed in a blue polo shirt and a pair of jeans pants. The discovery was made just a few hours after Phillips had left his family residence on Central American Boulevard at around 3:30 that morning. Police were able to crack the case after reviewing a video recording from a surveillance camera. And when reporters arrived at the scene later that morning, the grim images painted a picture of the horrific death that Phillips met. Today, Assistant Commissioner Gilberto Romero explained that so far, police have not established a motive for the murder, but they have strong evidence against the two accused.
An investigation was carried out. A vehicle was confiscated, and two persons have been jointly charged with the crime of murder. They are Jardine Jorgensen and Lloyd Burgess.
What is the investigation showing us to a motive behind this crime?
We did not establish a clear motive. All we got is that he was taken from somewhere in Belize City and taken to that area on John Smith Road.
Sir, has any information come to you guys to suggest that Mr. Phillips was killed because he had stolen a bicycle from a person?
No, we did not establish that, no.
That is what his brother said he had.
Yes, but the investigation, we did not come across anything like that.
Is Mr. Phillips known to the police to be involved in any criminal activities?
We only know that he had committed some petty theft. That is all we have on him.
The two accused, they're known to police?
Yes, they are known to police.
For petty crimes as well?
No, other crimes.
Like murder, sir? Whatever.
Other crimes.
Jorgensen and Burgess were denied bail because of the nature of the crime and were remanded to the Belize Central Prison until December 4th. Accused of being a member of a gang, Tyrone Ellis and Shaquille Main were acquitted this afternoon due to a lack of sufficient evidence. In February 2020, the three brothers were taken before the magistrate's court where they were each arraigned for allegedly being the member of a gang, namely the Ghost Town Crips. At the time, they pleaded not guilty, and they were placed on remand. The brothers were later granted bail. But the bail was revoked, that is. Shaquille Main absconded to the U.S. in December 2020, and authorities suspected that Tyrone and Ellis were attempting to do the same. They were again granted bail in March of this year. In August, the judge rejected a no-case submission by the men's defense, Richard Dickey Bradley and Leroy Banner. Today's acquittal came after months of trial that started back in 2022 and saw more than 20 witnesses taking the stand for the prosecution, mainly police officers and prison guards. Today, the senior magistrate noted a number of elements which the Crown had to prove as it related to the charge of being a member of a gang. She noted, quote, "To prove the guilt of the men, there must be a nexus to the defendants and the serious criminal offenses said to be committed by a group of persons in a gang." Based on the evidence before the court, while there is evidence of the existence of the gang, Ghost Town Crips, in the trial, no evidence came to the court linking these men, unquote. They were then set free of the charges. Additionally, the brothers were charged earlier this year for 2 counts of aggravated assault upon a man they allegedly beat up while on house arrest at their Bannock Street home. The men were charged jointly with 3 other men. Today, the brothers were able to meet a $2,500 bail in relation to those assault charges. Their bail was given with stringent conditions. They were placed on curfew and must be indoors by 8 p.m. and cannot come out of their home until 5 a.m. They must also sign in at the police station once a week and cannot leave the jurisdiction without the permission of the court. Last Tuesday, the Belize Defense Forces Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit determined that a crude object found on board a Maya Island Air flight from San Pedro was an improvised explosive device, an IED. This was after a bomb expert, retired BDF Commander David Jones, was called to assist with a situation at the Belize Municipal Airport. According to a report submitted following an investigation, the IED was, quote, black in color in a cardboard case. The cardboard body was removed to determine the filling, which has then identified to be that of a binary dynamite with high explosive filling. A picture of the IED is attached to the report, and the initiator was then ignited to verify if it was a live one. The initiator was set off, which indicated that the device is real and not a fake. The device, if had been set off on board the flight, could have tremendously caused the aircraft to explode, end quote. Tonight, the Director of Civil Aviation says that there is sufficient evidence, notwithstanding the BDF's conclusion that the device was, quote, a pyrotechnic flare that may have been used during the recent celebrations. So how could an explosive specialist get it wrong? Or is the BDF's conclusion being debunked simply to prevent incidental consequences within the domestic aviation industry? We begin with a timeline as shared by Director of Aviation Nigel Carter.
On the 26th of September, we were alerted by Maya Islander management of an aircraft that had landed at the municipal airport with what was suspected to be an improvised explosive device, or IED for short. Maya Islander, the flight originated from San Pedro at or about midday and landed at the municipal airport, where the passengers deplaned the aircraft, and the staff there at Maya Islander was alerted of the device. Maya Islander, following their security protocols, called the police, who in turn informed the bomb squad. The bomb squad then came. They looked at the device, removed it from the aircraft, and are now holding the device in custody. The device was removed from the aircraft without any incident. There is sufficient evidence to show that the device was in fact not an improvised explosive device, but more a pyrotechnic flare that was probably used for one of the events that occurred on or about during the September celebrations. While we're not the investigating body, but I want to put in a caveat that we are not the investigating body now. So that is actually in the hands of the police. But notwithstanding, we do have sufficient belief. Sorry, we do have sufficient evidence to believe that it was not in fact an improvised explosive device, but instead what is referred to as a cold flare.
The scare, according to the Director of Civil Aviation, has prompted authorities to expedite the implementation of certain security measures, including the use of handheld metal detectors for scanning passengers.
I can say to you that we do have a national security program and a national security committee that constantly looks at threat levels and so forth. I can say to you that the threat level in Belize is considered low. And as such, we wouldn't have expected anything like that to have occur. And when I say like that, just so I could clarify, when I say like that, I mean that we would not have expected that anybody would put on board an aircraft any type of device. We don't expect that there would be any acts of unlawful interference against aviation. And so, again, there was no expectation for that. Notwithstanding, it is a matter of concern to us. Protocols would normally have prevented an item like that from getting on board an aircraft. But then again, we are working in an environment where the security protocols are relatively low because of the low threat level, and as such, from time to time, situations like this would occur. The matter was of sufficient concern to us and the aviation community in Belize that we have taken steps to fast track certain plans that we had in place. These plans were looking particularly at strengthening aviation security at the domestic aerodromes. And so what we have implemented and what you will see with some of the domestic airlines right now are security checks. We should be doing screening of passengers. Handheld metal detector checks of passengers before they get on the aircraft. And from time to time, you will see that there will be physical searches. So beyond the handheld metal detectors, again, some of these items may not be made of metal, and as such, they would get past the handheld metal detector, and as such, you would want to ensure that you do physical pat downs of persons to make sure that they aren't moving any items on board those aircraft.
Coming up, CWU says PBL pulled plug on insurance coverage for stevedores. We'll have more details when we come back.
Who's my last little bit of paint?
Paint? How can that be a problem? We got you.
You have the exact color?
Definitely.
Attention DIY enthusiasts and professional builders. It's Builders Hardware's Mega Sale, starting October 16th and running through to December 30th. During our Mega Sale, you can enjoy up to 30% off items in our store. Looking to freshen up your home? Then enjoy 20% off on all paints, wood stains, and accessories. But that's not all. You get a whopping 25% discount on all other items in our store and a massive 30% off selected items. At Builders Hardware, we believe our customers are awesome. And that's why we're committed to providing top-notch service and the highest quality products. So whether you're a seasoned pro or a DIY beginner, we are waiting for you. Builders Hardware Mega Sale from October 16th until the end of the year.
Pull up. One of my last feet, right? Well, I hope I'm ready, because the next big thing, Yo, brother, the next big thing, hope I'm ready. The big thing to come. My last feet, right? Well, I hope I'm ready, because the next big thing, Well, I hope you're ready, because the next big thing is coming. Never worry about it. One of my last feet, right? Now. Ready. Hope you're ready, brother. Unlimited experience there. You are never around a day again. Listo, porque ya está aquí. Unlimited is unlimited.
Dengue and Zika alert. Do your part by preventing mosquito breeding. The Ministry of Health reminds the public that as we enter the rainy season, be aware of the dangers of dengue, chikungunya, and Zika. These are infectious diseases that are transmitted by the bite of Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus mosquitoes. These mosquitoes are most active in early morning and late afternoon. Activities that should be done to prevent dengue and Zika include: avoid having containers that can collect water in your yard. Cover water storage containers such as drums. Change the water in flower pots every 4 or 5 days. These are ideal breeding sites for the mosquito. With the elimination of breeding sites in and around the yard, dengue and Zika can be avoided. Dengue and Zika begin with sudden onset of high fever. Other signs and symptoms include rash, joint pain, eye pain. If you are pregnant or planning to become pregnant, we advise you to visit your nearest health facility. The public is also encouraged to use mosquito repellent spray or lotion on the body or clothing. Do your part by preventing mosquito breeding. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
We all have dreams that we are chasing, goals we're striving for, and loved ones we want to provide for. There is one thing that can provide you with a sense of security and empowerment. That is planning for the future and starting to save. Just as a tree starts as a seed and grows with time, your savings will grow. It's never too early or too late to take that crucial step towards securing your future. Saving is not just about putting money aside. It's a promise to yourself and your loved ones that you are taking control of your destiny. It all begins with a plan and the commitment to save, no matter how big or how small. Educate yourself about different savings options to help you achieve your plans. Remember, no matter where you are on your journey, the key is to start. Every step you take towards planning and saving is a step towards empowerment and peace of mind. Talk to your loved ones about your goals and dreams. Create a roadmap for a brighter future. That tree you planted now provides shade and shelter for your dreams. Embrace the power of planning for your future and starting to save. Your dreams are waiting, and your journey to a brighter tomorrow begins today. Plan today, save for tomorrow.
A message from the Central Bank of Belize. For more information, visit our website at centralbank.org.bz.
Homeowners, immerse yourselves in elegance. Surround yourself with the beauty of one-of-a-kind, quality wood furniture. This is what Mirka's elegant furniture and appliances has to offer. Trendy, affordable, and exceptional centerpieces, large mirrors, vanities, plush sofa sets, coffee tables, office furniture, exquisite mahogany bedroom sets, home decor, mattresses, and so much more. Shop our new reduced prices store-wide and get huge discounts daily. Our layaway and payment plans offer the lowest interest rates guaranteed. Our extensive catalog meets everyone's furniture needs, and if you can't find what you're looking for, then we'll custom make it for you. Shop at Mirka's and save. Mirka's, making your household dreams affordable.
Design Depot is your one-stop tile destination where unbelievable deals await. Explore our mega selection of tiles starting at just $1.99 per square foot. Hurry, it's a limited time offer. Design Depot is your trusted source for quality tiles that make your dream spaces a reality. The ultimate tile destination. Design Depot, all in one place.
The Christian Workers Union is back in the news tonight regarding insurance coverage for stevedores. The CWU held a press conference this morning in which it shared that the Port of Belize Limited had informed the labor organization on Friday that it would not be able to provide insurance for waterfront workers going forward. In a statement issued by the CWU, it says, quote, PBL's brazen attempt to leverage its responsibility to provide adequate insurance for stevedores by seeking to change the hours of work not include the collective bargaining agreement is regrettable. What happens next on the waterfront rests with the PBL, end quote. According to CWU President Leonora Flowers, an agreement is in place that provides insurance coverage for stevedores.
We have a union agreement that says insurance will be provided to our stevedores. That is in effect our current union agreement. The same union agreement that we need to go back to have signed, our collective agreement that we have not been able to move forward because the employer has not found it necessary to negotiate with us. At Article 9 and Article 12, it tells us of the insurance that the port provides. Now, this is an insurance that, like with most all employers, the employer pays a portion and the employees pays a portion. This insurance has been in effect and we should have negotiated by October 1st of 2020 new terms, better rates. We can show you that, and that has not happened to date. We are with one provider. We have asked for the conversation to commence. In fact, the conversation had commenced. We are to go to a new, we were to move to a new provider, giving better rates, of course, with increased costs. Our stevedores had agreed to that. We will increase the cost, they'll pay an increase, but there will be better rates and benefits, better benefits to be had.
Told reporters earlier today that the initial conversation between the Christian Workers Union and the Port of Belize Limited were going smoothly until the company reportedly informed that it would not be able to provide insurance coverage for stevedores at the expiration of that policy.
That conversation was flowing nicely until we were told a couple weeks ago that the port will not be able to provide that insurance to go forward. That whole insurance expired on Saturday, right? Yes. The new insurance should have commenced yesterday, the 1st of October. They told us on Friday, unfortunately, they will not be able to go ahead with the new insurance unless and until the stevedores agree to new hours of work. Bear in mind that hours of work is covered in the current agreement. We have said to them time and time again, as a responsible union, CW cannot negotiate away terms in the collective agreement, the current one, without sitting down and properly negotiating those terms. The insurance is already a part of the CBA. The hours of work is already a part of the CBA. But they want to tell us no, we'll only change insurance if you agree to new terms. As president of this union since May, I have said several times to the PBL, and we've written to them, let us get to the collective agreement, and at that time, we will negotiate in total what needs to be negotiated. The Belizean public is aware that we have lawsuits brought upon us by the Port of Belize, seeking to perhaps demolish our union. But strength is in numbers, and we continue to fight those.
The latest issue between the Port of Belize and the stevedores is set against the backdrop of the Essential Services Arbitration Award. In its release, the CWU states, quote, even whilst participating in the ESAT process, CWU has engaged with PBL to arrange better insurance coverage for the stevedores. Those efforts appear to have made progress until today, when PBL tried to link transitioning to better insurance coverage with changing stevedores' hours of work. While both insurance coverage and hours of work are included under the current CWU-PBL collective bargaining agreement, they are separate matters, end quote.
This last act of the port on Friday, we see it as complete disrespect in the highest sense and a total provocation. When the ESAT determined last in 2021 that they should pay the stevedores, that they should negotiate an award to the stevedores, even to date, that has not been done. This is a total of 20 months, and they have not adhered to that decision. Instead, they said they did not understand it. There was no award, there is no loss, there is no loss of people. We have lost income on this side of the table. Our members had lost the opportunity to earn income when sugar went to Big Creek. And that is what the ESAT decision said at that time. The port continues. We went back to the ESAT. There was an adjournment that should have, the decision should have come last Friday. It has been adjourned now to this Friday. On the heels of that, simultaneously with that bit of irritation that our members are feeling, we were then told another blow. We will not be able to continue with your insurance unless and until you discuss hours of work.
News 5 attempted to get a response from the management of Port of Belize Limited. Our request for comment went unanswered. 12 fishermen have been slapped with $70,000 in total fines for having 1,100 conchs in their possession during the closed season. Reports are that on Saturday night at around 9 o'clock, several hours before the start of the conch season, authorities came across a vessel named Louisiani, 2 miles south of the Blue Hole National Monument on Lighthouse Reef Atoll. A search of the vessel revealed the conch catch. The fishermen are 47-year-old Graciano Tun, 38-year-old Valderrama Santoya, 25-year-old Ivan Wilbur, 30-year-old Wilfred Tun, 32-year-old Marcel Mendez, 37-year-old Alric Romero, 31-year-old Edson Santoya, 39-year-old Ronaldo Santoya, 35-year-old Egbert Mendez, 25-year-old Jorge Casanova, 30-year-old Edimir Santoya, and 47-year-old Adrian Montalvo, all fishermen of Chunush village. The men were brought before the senior magistrate, faced with a minimum fine of $10,000 and a maximum of $150,000, plus a penalty of either $50 or $100 for each conch. The senior magistrate took into consideration the fact that according to the 12 fishermen, they were going to take their conch products to the cooperative to sell and divide the money they make by 12. At sentencing, 7 of them were imposed a fine of $1,005, which is to be paid by January 31st, 2024. The remaining fishermen, who are said to be repeat offenders, were fined $1,505 each. The 12 fishermen were additionally slapped with a penalty fine of $55,900, which they divided into 12. That came up to $4,658 each. After the break, 2022 findings on worst forms of child labor in Belize.
In business, you always hear about the one-stop shop. These last 2 days provide a one-stop shop for people in the Pixoc division and in Belize City for some others. Their documents will be processed, and I believe that the Lands Department now has the system down pat and they know what they're doing. They're going to be efficient at it, and we can empower some of our people. From what I've been told, they're processing about 300 people over the last 2 days, which is a large number.
Coming today, I got many issues resolved in a short space of time. I mean, you're looking at going to the office 5 or 6 times compared to coming to this specific land clinic and getting approved within 3 or 4 hours. I mean, you can't really beat that.
In this particular clinic, it's been primarily new first-time landowners, some persons who are in their 50s, as high as 60, and some persons as young as 18. And it's really, we worked till I think 12:30 last night. We're probably going to work just as late tonight, and that's a testament to the hard work and the commitment of our public officers too. You know, oftentimes our public officers get a bad name, but the truth of the matter is, like, this doesn't happen without them.
The Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, proudly celebrates its 120th anniversary of service and achievement in the Americas. PAHO began operating in Belize in the early 1950s. PAHO committed to providing technical cooperation to strengthen the capacity of Belize's health sector and improve the health of the people of Belize. The Malaria Eradication Program, which began in 1974, is one of the great success stories of PAHO's collaboration with the government of Belize. Since December 2018, Belize has reported 0 cases of malaria, placing the country well on track toward malaria elimination. For other vector-borne diseases like dengue, chikungunya, and Zika, PAHO led public health responses in Belize, which included surveillance, prevention and control, and the mobilization of resources. The emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 presented the greatest global public health challenge in recent history. In Belize, PAHO supported the Ministry of Health and Wellness by training lab personnel to diagnose SARS-CoV-2, evaluating isolation and long-term facilities, providing technical guidance for decentralized testing, and supporting procurement of COVID-19 test kits, medical and laboratory equipment and supplies, PPE, and IT communication equipment and materials. PAHO facilitated the acquisition of COVID-19 vaccines through COVAX and supported the COVID-19 vaccination rollout, contributing to 64.62% of the target population being fully vaccinated by December 30th, 2021. PAHO has built national capacity through specialized training to address non-communicable diseases such as heart disease, cancer and diabetes, which have been leading causes of death in Belize. With PAHO's support, all public hospitals have been certified as baby-friendly hospitals, as have 3 public polyclinics. The Smart Hospitals Initiatives was launched in Belize in 2016 and to date has retrofitted 5 health facilities countrywide. In collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Wellness, PAHO is providing safer, greener, climate-resistant health facilities to deliver care in disasters, generate operational savings, and reduce disaster losses. The launch of the National One Health platform in October 2022 will foster a coordinated, multi-sectorial collaboration to address the full spectrum of disease control, from prevention to detection, preparedness, response, and management. PAHO Belize will continue its decades-long commitment to the government and people of Belize in achieving the highest standard of health and well-being for all persons through universal access to healthcare, universal health coverage, resilient health systems, and quality health services throughout the life course.
Babe, have you seen the advisory that NEMA just posted? There's going to be a storm.
Storm? It's not a storm. That's just a little rain. We'll be all right.
Thank goodness that was only a simulation. But what if it wasn't? Consider this. You've worked hard building your future, your family, your business, your home. RF&G Insurance has policy options that can protect your most valued assets so that you can focus on what matters most. Include RF&G Insurance in your hurricane prep. Remember, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a Road Group company.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benque Viejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
The U.S. Department of Labor has issued its 2022 findings on the worst forms of child labor, looking at children's work and education in countries across the world. There is a section on Belize which shows that despite efforts being made to reduce child labor in the country, Caribbean children ages 5 to 14 are still working in three main sectors: agriculture, industry, and services. There are traditional practices in remote areas, and there is also poverty that factors into children actively working. And while the laws provide that a child can work at age 14, it cannot affect their physical and mental health. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Children in Belize are subjected to the worst forms of child labor, including in commercial sexual exploitation, sometimes as a result of human trafficking. Children also engage in dangerous tasks in agriculture and construction. That's according to the U.S. Department of Labor's 2022 report on child labor.
Okay, in terms of child labor worldwide, we have 168 million children in child labor. And so that is very important for us to note. And therefore, we need to ensure that in Belize, we reduce child labor. In 2003, there were statistical information in terms of child labor there. And so it was found that child labor is prevalent in the agricultural sector. And so it did identify that Belize is prevalent to child labor.
According to the report, 1.6% of the population, or 1,405 children, ages 5 to 14, are working. 1.2% work and go to school. They are working in agriculture, industry, and services. While the report says that children over age 14 are permitted to work in dangerous activities like mining and construction, Labor Commissioner Risela Dominguez-Pat says they shouldn't be.
First of all, because of the minimum age convention, you must understand at what age a child can work and what kind of work the child can do during that age. So therefore, the convention applies for different ages, but in Belize, the minimum age to work is 14 years old. But you can only work in shop. You cannot work anywhere else. And you can only do light work. And so also, if a child is the child can assist a parent at home, anything that intervenes with the child's education would be considered child labor. The agriculture sector was the one that was most prevalent. But in today, we can see that it has reduced because of fair trade. And so they have their own agreements whereby you must ensure that there is no child labor. And so they're working very arduously to eliminate child labor in those sectors. But definitely, we can still find child labor in the agriculture sector. And this is only one scenario. We could talk about the worst forms of child labor, which could be human trafficking, pornography, which are the worst forms of child labor, which we might not be able to see on a day-to-day, but we may know that it does exist.
Assisting a parent is not considered child labor, but if the child is unsupervised and conducting hazardous work, then that is considered child labor. Back in March of this year, a child labor training was held to build the capacity of frontline workers in an effort to eradicate child labor.
You know, on a global level, we see increases in child labor for the region, particularly for Latin America, and even for us in Belize. We are seeing that there is a reduction in the forms of child labor. And I want to say that as a government, we are being very proactive since taking over government. In July, we actually developed a very comprehensive child labor policy. And, you know, we are working very diligently with our labor officers across the country and other stakeholders, our frontline, you know, workers. And that is why we're having this training, because we want them to fully understand what is the child labor policy that we have, and what is their role in ensuring that the child labor policy is implemented and that we reduce all forms of child labor by 2025.
Belize has ratified all key international conventions concerning child labor, but the report says that gaps exist in the country's legal framework to adequately protect children from the worst forms of child labor, including a lack of prohibitions related to the use of children in the production and trafficking of drugs.
But prior to last year, we have ratified different conventions. Convention 138, which is the minimum age convention, and we have also ratified Convention 182, which is the worst forms of child labor. And so because we are a member state and we have ratified these conventions, then we must ensure that we comply by these.
The Ministry of Labor, the Department of Human Services, and the Belize Police Department are the agencies responsible for the enforcement of child labor laws.
This policy was developed with consultation with various stakeholders. And so in terms of child labor, it's not only the Labor Department, but it's different entities that are responsible to reducing child labor by 2025. And so the policy clearly identifies which other ministries or institutions play a role in this policy to ensure that the child labor is reduced by such period.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
The report shows that back in 2022, Belize made moderate advancements in efforts to eliminate the worst forms of child labor when GOB approved its National Child Labor Policy and Strategy 2022 to 2025. It aims to eliminate the worst forms of child labor by 2025 and prioritizes addressing legislative and information gaps, increasing child labor law compliance, and reducing barriers to education. Since February of this year, a child labor education tour began in the north, where communities are engaged in sessions designed to advocate for and protect children's rights. Earlier today on Open Your Eyes Morning Show, we found out how practical it is to eradicate child labor by 2025.
That is why it is very important for us to educate what child labor is and how you're exposing the child physically, mentally.
I am our National Child Labor Policy 2022 and 25. Our aim is to eradicate child labor by 2025. And our aim is that students have more access to education. And also we want to ensure that the businesses, stakeholders are complying with the labor laws in regards to child labor. And currently, we are doing the good practice that we are conducting in child labor inspections in all sectors. We are conducting child labor education in all sectors. We are also, like for example, the government this year had free education in 4 in schools, 2 in the Toledo district and Stan Creek. So the government is working hard to try to reduce child labor by 2025.
One of the outputs is build awareness. That is only one within the schools to educate the students, the teachers, and even parents. Because many times the reason why child labor exists is because we don't know how the child is being affected. And so we need to ensure that everyone is aware, because everyone plays a role. And so if I know what child labor, how it affects a child, then I will tell someone else, this, what you're doing is not correct.
When we return, Vital Stats closed for relocation, faster, easier process expected by next May.
My Social Security. Your direct online access to all your Social Security information. 360 view of all your Social Security information. Registration services, benefits, contributions, and employer services at your fingertips. Enjoy all the new features with your My Social Security account. Register with SSB. Submission of benefit claims. Submission of contribution statements. View contribution record. Enjoy all your My Social Security feature at ssbportal.org.bz. Social Security at your fingertips.
My name is Denise Mala. I had an aunt, one of my mom's sister, that we believe died from cancer. She was relatively young. And my sister passed from cervical cancer. I have been doing annual checkups. Recently, after one of the annual checkups, I noticed, a change in one of my breasts. I went for the next checkup earlier and I brought it to the attention of my treating doctor. He looked at it and he said he didn't like what he was seeing. A biopsy was requested and then the biopsy came back positive. When you first find out these things, you think about a lot of things, and then eventually it comes around to the finance. I recalled this insurance, critical illness insurance that I had that I was paying. And that was probably the first time I read that contract. I read it in its entirety. And then I recognized that, this is going to assist me. I called the office, spoke with my agent. He was very helpful, guided me through what I needed to do. So I went through the process and I communicated with him a couple times and he just informed me what was happening. In a pretty short period of time, I was paid my insurance. This plan that I had been paying for many years, in my time of need, that came through for me. Having that insurance helped me significantly. It is absolutely something that everyone should consider because you never know when you're going to need it.
I had applied and it was like a lot of misconceptions or misguiding along the way because it was a series of turnaround. I mean, from one minister's desk to the next, from one person in the office to the next, and they even had discrepancies in if somebody actually owned the land. But coming here and going through the process, you realize the difference in consistency and in allowing you to go through the process at a rapid pace, which is highly regarded by me because it shows a level of proficiency and also that it's something that the Belizean people need access to equitable land distribution.
Sign up for Smart Share Plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly, only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
We've been reporting on the Laguna and Yemery Grove issue over the Maya traditional land distribution system versus what the residents of Yemery Grove say is encroachment. Based on the findings of an investigation, the Laguna Village Council had cleared land in an area adjacent to the village, which they had illegally surveyed. And back in May of this year, the Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs asked for all parties to refrain from placing any survey markers in the area. But according to residents of Yemery Grove, the Maya people of Laguna have not complied, and so on Sunday, they went out to clear lots for themselves. Shortly thereafter, the Commissioner of Indigenous Peoples Affairs arrived in the area. The residents took video of what happened on the ground and shared it with News 5.
Just so I know, please, I don't know what your reasonings are for being here, but as you very well know, we don't want to fight with anybody. We have been very peaceful so far. You guys have not. So I'm asking you nicely, please go home. Go to church. It's Sunday morning. I don't know what you're doing out here. And I see a lot of you are my brothers and sisters that I've seen in church over and over again. I'm not Miss Christina, just so we're clear.
Who wants to fight this? Sorry about
So look at all of you with your machetes. So please,
you are saying
you all are trespassing.
You are nothing to say. You are from San Miguel. You are. You have nothing to say.
Please go home. Please go home.
Honorable Dolores mentioned on all radio station that she was going to give in writing to both Yemery Grove Village and Laguna Village a letter stating that both village should refrain from doing any development on the land because it is disputed. We at Yemery Grove as civil people, we decided to abide by what she had said because we wasn't even issued with a copy of the letter. But however, as Belizean and law-abiding people, we actually decided that, you know what, we'll stand by and we'll wait and we hope that the government will step in and do what they are elected to do. Right? So what happened is that we noticed that the people from Laguna had since erected about 2 buildings within the area. We actually found out that the MLA started to erect a huge building also. They had a foundation and they started to build in the area also. I must say that no one from the Ministry of Indigenous Affairs or from no other ministry went and stopped these people. So we decided as a village and with my council, we will go there and we will actually issue a piece of land, a parcel of land to each villager who needs a piece of land. It is our village. So we went and we started marking the area. We then noticed that the attorney, Miss what's her name? Miss Monica came out with her husband on the road. The chairperson from Laguna came out, and they actually started saying a lot of stuff. We ignored them. Especially I ignored them. I walked away. I told my villagers, you know what happened? We came here to do one thing, it's to mark our land, and we will proceed after that. Monica stated that she will call the police, and I noticed very shortly after, Mr. Greg Chuck, the Commissioner of Indigenous Affairs, actually entered into the area. One of the police who told me that they had gotten instruction to ask us to leave the area. So I explained to her, I tell her, you know what, we have no problem in leaving this area. However, we are within our village boundary. We are on a government road. We are not passing with anybody. We are marking our land for our villagers, and I don't think that this thing should be one-sided.
Usher says that Commissioner Greg Chuck confirmed with him that a document is at his desk about the delimitation of village boundaries, which must be done by licensed surveyors sanctioned by the Ministry of Natural Resources and Petroleum. Usher says that Chuck has invited him to a meeting for a date that has not yet been determined. For years, anyone who has needed the services rendered at the Vital Statistics Office has discovered how painstaking, time-consuming, and sometimes inconvenient that process can be. Getting copies of important documents like birth, marriage, and death certificates can easily take double the time you expected, most of the time because of lost records, insufficient information provided to process an application, or even spelling errors. But the department has been undergoing upgrades, and one of them is its relocation. Today, its Queen Street office was fully shuttered as staff members are engaged in relocating. That relocation is the Charles Bartlett High Building, formerly the Complex Building on Mahogany Street, where renovations are being wrapped up this week. So for this week, the Vital Stats office in Belize City will be closed for that relocation process. To address the tedious and inconvenient process it takes to apply for and to receive documents, there has also been a full digitization and digitalization of the system. As Minister of E-Governance Michelle Shabat explains, the public should be able to access birth, marriage, or death certificates from anywhere within the country very soon.
We have also engaged consultants who have been working on the transformation of our documents to digitized documents, and we are expecting, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, that by May of next year we're going to see this project launched to all of our citizens. And what that means is that wherever you are throughout the country, you'll be able to access these documents.
With the advent of electric buses come other kinds of electric vehicles. It's part and parcel of the global initiative promoted at the Conference of the Parties, or COP conferences, on climate change to shift to a more environmentally friendly method of getting around. It's all in an effort to slow down the rate of carbon gas emissions and to protect what's left of the ozone layer. Belize has its own electric mobility project underway that is sponsored by the EU to introduce electric buses in the commercial transportation sector. The Minister of Energy, Michelle Shabat, explained how this project will work when it comes on stream.
The electric mobility project is being sponsored through the European Union again, and it is being managed by the United Nations Development Project. And it is an important project because what it seeks to do is to introduce electric buses for the first time into our country. We have two pilot projects we're going to be doing. One is going to be for Belize City for the intercity runs, and the next one is going to be an intra-district run that will run, at this time we're looking at from Corozal to Benque Viejo. And so it is important because it helps us to achieve some of the international commitments we've made, especially in terms of the reduction of carbon emissions. So this is an important project, and we're hoping that as time goes by, people are going to see the benefit of using electric vehicles and perhaps lessen our dependency on fossil fuels.
Accompanied by the introduction of electric vehicles is the installation of charging ports across the country. The ones installed for the buses are part of the government's pilot project, but as more and more private citizens and companies make the switch from petrol to power, there will be the need for charging ports across the country. The Belize Electricity Limited is well underway with the installation of charging ports. Today, News 5 checked in with the utility company and found out that of the 12 charging ports it will install countrywide, 11 are already set up. For the purpose of motorists who have already made that investment in getting their electric ride, BEL's Market Research and Innovation Officer Selene Solis shares where you can drive in to charge up.
We are well advanced and have installed up to 11 charging infrastructure, and we are finalizing the last location, which will be in Corozal. So there are various stages of commissioning. Behind me, you will see at our BL headquarters on the Philip Golson Highway, a level 3 charging station, which has been commissioned. Also commissioned is our San Ignacio location at Macau River Park. That's opposite Hodes for people out west. We are working on commissioning a location at Shybel gas station. That's about 6 miles on the Hummingbird Highway. We also have commissioned one. Yes, that's right. We also have commissioned a location at Belize Biltmore Plaza Hotel here in the city and one at Caribbean Motors here in the city. Other locations that are in progress, starting from the top, we have one in Orange Walk in Belize City. We have one at downtown in the niche parking lot area. So that's Daminita Gordon Drive, I believe, is the name of the location now. We have one in Belmopan at Belmopan Market Square. That's at the Civic Center parking lot, right opposite Digi in that area. And we have several others that will be installed at private locations through partnerships with the government, because they are the likely first adopters. In fact, some government departments have already acquired electric vehicles and are already moving around in them.
There are different types of charging ports for electric vehicles depending on the type of vehicle. And there are 3 different levels of charging ports as well, again dependent on the type of vehicle you buy, the condition, the battery, and so on. A level 3 charging port is the equivalent of a fast charger for your cell phone. It speeds up the process to within about an hour. A level 1 charging port will take several hours to fully recharge your vehicle. And the cost of fully recharging your ride is expected to cost you around 40 cents per kilowatt hour. And for newer vehicles, the charge can take you for between 200 and 400 miles. But this is all dependent on the health of your vehicle and its battery. Up next in this week's episode of Sports Monday, Inter-Office Basketball League goes into playoffs, and All-Star Weekend coming up.
It's an massive season with massive deals and rewards at Penny's. From now through December 31st, earn double B-Bucks on store-wide purchasing every Friday and Saturday. That's right, 2 times the B-Bucks, which means 2 times the cash back when shopping at Penny's. Plus, get even more rewards with B-Bucks Builders on home goods, tiles, appliances, paints, and lights. And don't forget, there's also massive deals and discounts on tiles and the best brands in paints like Benjamin Moore and BH. Rewards, deals, B-Bucks. You can get it all this massive season. Only at Penny's. Quality and saving.
Everything is better electric. Be more efficient with electric vehicles and transforming your home with Energy Star electric appliances and power tools. This helps to create a greener and cleaner world for the next generation. Energize your world with BEL.
Get ready, babe. We're going on a vacation.
Finally, where are we going?
Don't worry, babe. I have we covered.
Are you sure you know where we're going?
Yes, babe. Oh, right there, see? Babe, the price me too good to be true. Me look much more better in that picture.
When life throws you a curveball, Belize Bank has your back. With our online financing, you can turn any vacation mishap into a dream getaway.
Cheers to Belize Bank for making our dream vacation a reality.
Thanks to you, babes, to turn things around.
No thanks to you, cheapo.
Ouch.
Experience the future of financing with Belize Bank online, where you can secure funds for anything, from anywhere, at any time, all without stepping foot in a bank. Apply for a loan today and unlock a world of possibilities.
Number one caller. Number one caller. Hey, number one caller. You know why? Listen, hey, for the best post and prepaid. You know that Smart got your back. For the best service coverage. All we know that Smart got your back. Travel and connect everywhere. You know that Smart got your back. Smart record that'll go a long, long way. All we know that Smart got your back. Do ya, Ben? Let's go. caller is the number one caller with smart, bringing people together.
Good night and welcome to another edition of Sports Monday. I am Paul Lopez. The time when there is no one there to feel sorry for you or to cheer for you is when a player is made. That's a quote from former basketball player Tim Duncan. We begin tonight's coverage with some Friday night action inside the St. Catherine Auditorium. The Ministry of Health and Wellness took on Belize Stock Services in Division A of the Inter-Office Basketball League 2023. Going into the match, MOHW stood in first place and Belize Stock Services stood in second. The starting whistle is blown and Joshua Bradley takes control for the Belize Stock Service. He drives it down the left all the way to the rim and makes good on the basket. Neil Nicholson to Darwin Zuniga. Zuniga drives and makes a bounce pass to Kyle Williams. A jump shot from Williams puts MOHW on the scoreboard. Brian Neal to Nicholson at the three-point line. Tyreek Dawson to his right receives the ball, drives and forces a pass to Neal, picked up by Captain Leon Williams, who goes up strong. Raheem Flowers gets in trouble at the free throw line, dishes out to Zuniga. Zuniga sends it to Nicholson on the baseline, sets a screen on Neal. Nicholson comes around and makes the jump shot. The game is now at 5-4 in favor of Belize Stock Service. Captain Williams is fouled under the rim and this is his second time at the free throw line. He makes good on the first and misses the second. Williams would go on to make 10 points at the free throw line. Bradley to Dawson across to Ryan Lucas. Lucas finds Jermaine Bryant who drills the three-pointer. The first quarter ended 15-7 points in favor of Belize Stock Service. They would continue to display dominance in the second and third quarter, finishing the half with an 8-point lead and the third with a 7-point lead. NEBL MVP Nigel Jones and his defender teammate Raul Vanegas are out on a Friday night enjoying the game. The Belize Stock Service has 36 points going into the fourth. MOHW is down by 7th with 29 points. Tyreek Dawson down the court. The Euro step and it's in for 2. MOHW is struggling to find a rhythm after that play. Nicholson passes out to Rashawn Line-Festa. He loses it in the paint. Belize Stock Services in possession, but Nicholson also loses the ball. Ashley Hemsley recovers it, loses it and gets it back. He then puts up a quick three from deep and that's no good. Ron Nicholson with the rebound sends a long pass to Bradley on the other end. He powers over Neil Nicholson and makes the basket. Neil Nicholson trying to ask for a change out of frustration. Neil tries to drive down the baseline, but he finds himself in a jam. He forces the pass to Ryan Michael. Bradley almost recovers it. Kyle Williams gets it but mistakenly passes the ball off to Dawson. The play is completed on the other end as Michael tries to sell the flop. The game ended in favor of Belize Stock Service with 49 points to MOHW's 43 points. On Friday night, the Belize City Civic Center will come alive with the IBL's All-Star Games to kick off the playoffs. Our under-23 national-made volleyball team came short of securing a position on the podium at the under-23 Central American Volleyball Championship in Panama. On Saturday, Belize took on Nicaragua. A victory would have secured a silver medal for Belize. A loss in 5 sets would have meant a bronze medal. Nicaragua with the first service of the game, set to Kerwin Palacio. Nicaragua is unable to pick it up, but the referee calls a net violation. Point to Nicaragua. Service set to Kalen Ingram, and that's a kill for Ingram. First point for Team Belize. Braden Nicholson with the serve, and the ball is set to number 8 for Nicaragua. He tips it over the heads of the blockers, and it's too much for Tyrell Lucario. Point for Nicaragua. Picked up by Lucario, Richardson sets Palacio. Nicaragua observes the attack but sends it outside the play area. That's a second point for Team Belize. Nicaragua would go on a 7-point run, forcing Belize to take multiple timeouts. Up by 7 points, Nicaragua with the serve. Lucario sends it back. Nicaragua takes advantage and puts the ball in the play area. But the referee calls a violation, and the point goes to Belize. The first set ended 25 points to 13 in favor of Nicaragua. Nearing the end of the second set, Team Belize held a convincing 5-point lead. Ernest Broster with the service, picked up, back to Richardson. Broster attacks, Nicaragua takes control. Back to Lucario. Richardson. Eliezer Mejia. Nicaragua launches another attack. Picked up by Broster. But a net violation is called on Palacio. That's a point for Nicaragua. Service picked up by Lucario. Richardson to Palacio with a soft touch. And that one goes in. Nicaragua is able to bring back this game. Belize now at game point. Nicaragua has 23 and serving. Service to Lucario. Richardson. Ingram with the attack. Blocked and picked up. Nicaragua sets its number 6, and that one is too much for Belize's blockers. The set is tied at 24. Picked up and sent over by Broster. Belize scrambles to recover, and Nicaragua finds the open. Nicaragua now at game point. Ball picked up by Broster. Richardson. Mejia is caught off guard, and he hits that one all the way across the play area, and it goes outside. Nicaragua went on also to win the third set, leaving Belize to settle for 4th place in the tournament. And before we wrap up, we would like to send a huge shout out to the Belizean athletes who competed in the Codicoder Para-Codicoder Athletics Games in Costa Rica recently. Annalise Pascasia secured a silver medal in a 200-meter race and a bronze in the 100. Kadeen Thomas won the bronze medal in long jump. Denisha Diego secured silver in the 100-meter race and bronze in the 200. We say congratulations to them and to all our athletes who competed. Well, folks, that's all we have for you in tonight's coverage of Sports Monday. Catch you in the next one.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5belize.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, good night.